Till in 2010 a doctor and his son just happened to be walking by an apartment building in Paris when a 15-month-old boy fell 80 feet, 24 million, from a 7th floor balcony before bouncing off a cafe awning into the doctor's arms. His catch helped the boy escape miraculously without a single scratch. Shout out to the cafe awning that made it all possible. This some Looney Tunes scenario. Which profession is far more enjoyable than most people realize? Book editor. You get to read books during business hours, and you get paid to do it. Bonus, you also get to get all smart and wise, this bit is not working, rewrite it, and you get paid for that too. Another bonus, you're getting invited to all sorts of fancy social gatherings, mingling with authors and academia. I got to do this for 7 years, probably the best, most relaxed, and fun 7 years of my professional life. I work at a nursery. It's relaxing to water and prune plants while listening to a podcast or music. Locksmith, best career ever, 8 years in and I love it. Gardener. Cultivating happiness, one plant at a time. What is the worst second-hand embarrassment you've ever felt? Someone at my college graduation ceremony yelled "I'm queen of the world," when accepting her diploma. Not a single person laughed. Was at dinner party when my friend's mother-in-law asked another one of our friends when her baby was due. She wasn't pregnant. Anyway, Mill should have simply apologized, but instead doubles down with something to the effect of "It sure looks like you're pregnant." That time my old roommate told a table full of his family that AIDS and cancer are the same thing. Just after talking about how much he's been learning from his night classes. Those classes were being paid for by his parents, and spoiler alert, he wasn't attending any classes. They realized it by the time dinner was over. Till some workers in Japan pay agencies to tell their employers that they are resigning. The guilt trip must be on another level. What do you do if you work for a resignation company and want to resign your position? Honestly, not a bad idea, like having a lawyer make sure I don't cave or screw myself over. Japan is known to have a number of black corporations that are very exploitative, borderline slavery. Agencies like the ones Op describes are often needed to break employment periods, as black corporations will often fraudulently claim that a resigning employee is still on payroll to prevent them from being hireable elsewhere. Work culture absolutely sucks in Japan. LPT, your first job will demand everything, but remember, no company will ever care about you more than you care about yourself. Burnout isn't a badge of honor. Set boundaries early, prioritize your health, and don't sacrifice your well-being for a job that would replace you in a week. Treat yourself as the CEO of a company that sells your labor, and make the best decisions for your company, not theirs. One thing I learned early on. The good workers, the efficient, hard-working people, get the most work to do. If you need something done, it doesn't go to the slacker, just to the one who can do it, regardless of how many hours it takes them. But both will get paid the same. I'm not allowed to drink on shift. Got it? Good on your supervisor to notice your lack of a water bottle. Shows they are paying attention to you and how you perform. I have heard that this sometimes comes from customers pretending they're offended at workers drinking in the restaurant. My favorite response to this is, instead of telling the employee to stop drinking as it bothers customers, finding said employee and bringing them to the customer, and asking the customer very loudly to please explain in detail why they are not okay with the employee drinking water while on shift. Oh, you meant water, gotcha. Although, I've worked at several restaurants where drinking on shift was mandatory. To people in Florida, how is the evacuation situation with Hurricane Milton? Live in Tampa, Zone A. Husband and I evacuated out of state with our dogs and important items. I parked my car at my friend's parking garage on the 6th floor to avoid flooding, and we drove my husband's car out. We left around 4:30 a.m. on Tuesday, so no extensive traffic. Some pockets of slowdown but no real gridlock, luckily. I'm glad we are safe, but I am sick to my stomach over what's going to happen to our community. I'm looking at Earth Cam, Naples FL, and there are people surfing. South Tampa, Florida checking in. I lost most everything including my car from Helene. I stayed in my apartment up until Monday. I'm in Zone A, which means mandatory evacuation. I took all that I had left and what could fit in my car. I had to leave some things behind. My cat and I are at a hotel. Hopefully safe. Not entirely sure what or where my next move is. It's a scary, confusing, exhausting time. TIL, the founder of North Face, Douglas Tompkins, was killed in 2015 in a kayaking accident while traveling with longtime friend Patagonia founder Yvonne Chouinard, in Patagonia, Chile. The real Dread Pirate Roberts has been retired these 15 years and living like a king in Patagonia. It's the founder of North Face dying while doing adventure things in the wild. I can respect the brand in that context. Clock out exactly at the end of my shift. Okay. What are you gonna do? Fire the one responsible person that you've got. Great plan. This screams Planet Fitness, LOL. That place is such a dumpster fire on the staffing end. You can't call your practice Better Dental. He better have gotten his money's worth out of that name change. There's one dentist office somewhere that is literally called Dentists Near Me. Till that when Winona Ryder was offered the role of Joyce Byers, she agreed on the condition that she would be allowed time off to film a sequel to Beetlejuice if it began filming while Stranger Things was still in production. Imagine believing in Beetlejuice 2 so much that you make sure your Stranger Things bosses promise to let you leave if it ever happens. Winona Ryder is a legend. Random fact, there was a time when it was difficult for her to get work, not because people didn't enjoy her acting, but because they couldn't get insurance on the films. Woody Allen in 2004 wanted to cast her alongside Robert Downey Jr. in a movie, but due to both of their pasts with drugs and shoplifting, the Bond companies would not insure them because they were considered too risky. Till that the film Top Gun: Maverick was actively supported and influenced by the United States Department of Defense and the United States Navy to present the U.S. military in a positive light and aid in recruitment and retention. Wait till you find out about the same shit with Call of Duty. I feel like this was kinda obvious tbh. LPT, don't tell kids to say cheese to get good pics. I always use everyone say poopy pants, with kids. Works like a charm for genuine laughs and smiles. Sometimes I accidentally use that line in adults, and it usually works pretty well for them too. With my son, the best thing was to tell him, jokingly, stop smiling. No, seriously. Anything else would get the weird smile. LPT, if you skip the Super Bowl it's a perfect opportunity to go out to busy places. I worked at a grocery store for years and Super Bowl night was always the most dead night of the year, along with any night of a big rivalry football game. I can so remember watching how slowly that clock moved while there were less than 5 customers in our massive store. Conversely, about 4 to 5 hours before the game starts was always one of the busiest of the year, so if you need to grocery shop today, expect that if you're going early. My family and I used to go to the Six Flags every Super Bowl Sunday and there's nothing like the joy of being able to ride a roller coaster and run through the lines and immediately get back on the same one. I used to test to see if sitting in the front or the back felt different. My mom, sisters, and I go to a Broadway show every year during the Super Bowl. If we get tickets days of there's usually lots of choices. Like and subscribe.